Hi, welcome to Gabbing with Girlfriends. And my girlfriend today, but it's my girlfriend all the time. She's not just my girlfriend today, is Kimberly Friedmutter, and I always kind of stumble through your last name. You say it.
So those three-syllable German words are always
Yeah,
difficult.
no. Three
Yeah,
syllable English words get to me, never mind any other nationality.
right.
How are,
Yeah,
how,
it's Friedmutter, and it actually means peaceful mother, and so it's my husband's name, Friedmutter. Yeah.
oh, I didn't know that's what it meant. You never told me that before. You've been holding back. That's
Right, exactly. Well,
sweet.
the Genesis, he tells me all the time, and so I said, "Well, what's your mother peaceful?" That's the question. So the answer was yes. So Friedmutter,
Oh,
peaceful.
I love that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
sweet.
who knew? So, how are you? How's everything good?
Yeah, really good. It's heating up. I know you're where you are, and I'm in Nevada, and so it's only going to be 120 today, something like
Is it
that.
really? I was just, the person that records this, he's in Arizona where he's, I think, 115. It's unbelievable the heat everywhere. I'm in
Yeah.
England where it's right now it's 86 degrees. And for England, that's warm, especially since nothing's
Oh,
air conditioned. And in England, if it stays warm and dry for more than 3 days, it's a heat wave with a drought. So,
that's funny.
so yeah, but I'm starting to get it because I'm really feeling it today. We're kind of 4 days into this heat wave, and yeah,
Yeah,
um,
that's your
but
favorite time there, right? Don't you love it when it's warm
oh my
and
God, so much. I love it when it's warm and I'm in a hotel where there is air conditioning or
yeah.
in my car. I had a Zoom earlier that literally, and there's fans in the house and whatever, but I did it from the car because it's cooler in the car.
Oh
So
yeah.
anyway, but yes, I'm happy. I love the summer here. So I love the summer everywhere, but I'm happy. So there's so much to talk about, and there's so much I want everybody to know about you. But do you want to start with your book first?
Uh,
Subconscious Power?
yeah, sure. So I wrote a book. Simon and Schuster published it for me. Atria is the imprint. If anybody knows of them from The Secret, they published The Secret also. But so basically, it was interesting because you know how when you do something, you're pretty focused on that, and that's kind of your world. And the
Yeah,
assumption would be that most people know about it. So a lot of people don't know about hypnosis, and if they do know about hypnosis, they either know it from a film where it's getting people to rob banks or something like that, or they know about it from Thank You, Chris Angel, an illusionist or somebody that uses it as
of
trickery,
course.
right?
Right, right.
Sometimes people will say, "Oh, so you're a psychic," and I said, "No, not really a psychic. I
Maybe,
psychic
maybe.
tendencies, yeah, psychic tendencies to be determined." But the reality is that it's very scientific, it's very clinical. And so there's no rabbits or bunnies or anything coming out of the clothing or swinging watches or any of that. Although the benefits of it, and here's one thing, if you will allow me to indulge for a second. So
Oh, please.
everything hypnotizes us. So good things hypnotize us, like you see a kitten playing with a ball of yarn, or you see a flame on a fire pit and you're just mesmerized. Anything
Hmm.
that captures your attention, anything that takes you out of your conscious mind, which is our daily task maker and day planner and all the things, I've got to do A to Z, that's your conscious mind. Your subconscious is who you really are. Your subconscious is your emotions, how you see symbolism, your memories, all of those things. So when we look at the subconscious, it's like the gooey, warm, yummy part of us that's really makes up our personality. so so it's looking for direction, and it's ascertaining from things during the day, millions of bits of information from your eyes alone, all of your senses. First of all, when you see someone, am I safe? Is this person authentic? Is what I'm hearing true? Is what I'm seeing honest and true? So there's all of this business going on, right? And so if there wasn't a protocol to treat that, where would we be? So cognitive behavioral therapy treats the conscious mind, and hypnosis or hypnotherapy treats the subconscious mind. So when you're in a movie, it's the actors, but you still, are able to drum up a tear, right? That's your
Right.
emotion override, going past the critical consciousness that tells you, oh my gosh, that's Tom Cruise and whoever, right? Don't cry, silly, that's an actor, but we still get caught up in it. So everything really is your hypnotist, which brings us to the question of who's your hypnotist? You know how they say, who's your daddy? All that. Who's your hypnotist? So if you list the things that you're most attracted to, like the top 5 things, that's what has you hypnotized. For women, oftentimes it's small, shiny things. For men, oftentimes it's big, shiny things, right? Boats, planes, cars, whatever. And then for girls, it's little shiny things. So we're not that far off the mark from having everything hypnotize us many times during the day. That's
So, but how did you know? Well, I don't really know if this is the right question, but how did you know that this is what you could do, that you could do this, that you can, like, you don't go to school for it,
well, you do. Yeah, you do. But just like any protocol, anything, art and science, the two shall meet, right? So for me, like right now, face stuff is a thing and body stuff is a thing. So when I'm looking at people for that, I want a scientist first, right? And then I also want an artiste. I want someone who has the flair for it or loves it or is good at it, right? So with that, with hypnosis, it's the same thing basically. I had a radio talk show on the Howard Stern station, is what it was called, in Los Angeles on 97.1 KLSX,
yeah,
KLSX FM. And the station. So it had millions and millions of listeners, and it was great. It was terrestrial radio back when that was a thing. And so
that's all there was then.
that's all there was then. It was before Howard went to satellite and all that. But anyway, so the whole idea was that we were taking calls from people mostly on the 405 and, hello, caller in the silver Corolla. What's your question?
Right, right.
So we did all that, and I really had a knack for it, and I had a flair for it, and I was able to cure problems, but yet I wasn't a psychologist, and so I can't dispense information. I can't diagnose. There's laws about that. And so I thought, what could I do that could be helpful? And so I had gone to a hypnotist because when I got the radio show and this came here like this, and these went on like this,
Right, right.
and there's, I think 8 million listeners we had. I'm thinking, oh, shoot, now what? And I started really watching my words and like self monitoring. And that's death to radio. Radio is supposed to be, especially on Howard Stern, you're supposed to just be like its train of thought and its flow. And I was thinking something, stopping my mind, assessing that thing, and then speaking the thing. And so it wasn't coming out. Nobody really noticed, but I noticed. And it was hitchy and it
Right,
didn't
right.
go right. And I was nervous. So anyway, I went to a hypnotist and I said, help, fix me. And so she did, like right away, boom. We had a session. The next time I went on the air, I'm like 97.1 KLSX, you're on Kimberly Francine, da da da. And nothing. I couldn't feel the fear. I wasn't watching my words. I was talking much like I am now, just ba 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 ba, and easy peasy. And so then I thought, I have, and I kept waiting for it. Is it in the intro? Is it in the outro? Where am I going to lose it? And where is it going to come back? And it never did. So that I thought, aha, now let me list the other, 20 things that are wrong with me so that I can fix that. And so I went with my scroll and, started working on all those things. And I love the process because it's fast. And also because you just feel, as the client, you feel like you're taking a nap and the hypnotist is doing the work. And it's beautiful. So then I started working with people in LA, and I moved up to Seattle and worked with people there in tech. And then I moved to Malibu and worked with people in addiction. And then Simon Schuster reached out, and we made this. We had a baby, and so it's helpful. It sold out in Russia. Go figure.
Wow.
I know. I did my second deal, second contract for Russia because the book sold out. I was in an
Funny.
Uber. Yeah, I was in an Uber the other day in LA, and the guy is Russian, and he's telling me, how they say, what do you do? I say, oh, I'm a hypnotherapist. He says, oh, I just read a book on hypnotherapy. And I said, oh, really? Which one? I'm thinking, I'm not going to know this book. My book in Russia.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He was
Oh
so
my gosh.
excited. It's by a woman. I can't do his affectation, otherwise, it'd be funny. But it's about a woman named Kimberly. And I said, really? How interesting is that? So he showed it to me, and it was my book.
And did you tell him? Did he get it then?
Oh yeah, no, I told him and he cried.
Oh, oh,
So I said, stop and I'll get a yogurt. Let's pick up a yogurt. I don't know what to do. I'm like, he's very touched. He was
oh,
touched.
that's really, that's very cool.
It was very sweet. And then it's in Saudi Arabia. It's doing very well there. So it's interesting, God bless everybody if anyone can be helped by it. It's so easy. That's the thing. I mean, I hate to hate to make a thing of it, but it's just so incredibly easy.
And how did you know then that you could, well, this would have been before the book anyway, but how did you know that you were able to do, like, this could be a livelihood?
Yeah. So when I saw what it was doing, and I to myself for the all the things that were wrong with me, I thought there's really something to this, and I'm intrigued, and so I wanted to know what she had done to me and with me that all of a sudden, just like this, I didn't have those feelings anymore about anything: anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, limited decisions, like all of it. And I mean, that's powerful stuff because, we sometimes we like to carry things around. Some people feel better with the backpack stuff on, and some people want to move freely, as I did. And when I didn't feel that proverbial monkey on my back anymore, I was not only surprised, mystified, transfixed, curious, all of those things. And so when I started studying about it just for my own personal growth, I thought, wow. And then there happened to be, I was living down in Orange County at the time. I was driving back and forth to the station, which is in Koreatown, was in Koreatown. And I started listening to things about it. And then there was a school that had a 3-month thing. And so I went to that. And as I started getting educated, of course, we do, course studies and sample clients and whatnot. And literally their bodies were transforming. And I mean, serious stuff, like real health issues. And it was shocking to me. Like, I'm thinking, I'm looking at a scan and I'm looking at the client and I'm looking at what they had and I'm looking at all these things. I'm thinking, this is very powerful stuff. So then I started practicing on everybody I knew. Have you problems? Hello, ma'am. You look like you might have a problem. So I became very popular in the local area with that. And then I and then I started utilizing it for commerce and, very, tiny little bits of money in trade. And then it grew and grew and grew, and the people and the thing and the stuff. And then I liked it. And then I thought, wow, this is like something I can continue to do. Mostly because I used my body from the neck down for the most part. And I don't mean like that. Oh, I kind of mean like not like that. But for, because I was modeling and acting and all that kind of stuff. So it was very little of this and very much about this. And now it's all this, nothing about this. So it's like perfect timing.
So then how did you grow or transform? I'm not sure what the right word is, to that part of your life to where you are now, because you're so multifaceted in as much as having not just having this ability, but you seem to be, you have medical knowledge that I'm sure most, you know, junior nurses don't have. You have, do you know what I mean? I don't, how did you do that? How did you get from there to here?
Right. So mostly because my friends that are doctors, I'm the only one they trust to give them injections at places they can't reach. And I played some on TV. That was the other day. No, the other day I was at this restaurant. Did I tell you this? With
You did, but it's funny. Tell me again.
yeah, and the guy like collapsed behind me on the. I didn't even see him collapse. He's on the floor, and so immediately I go into stroke mode because I know about strokes. And so the manager says, "Ma'am, were you a doctor?" And I said, "No, but I played one on TV." And everybody laughed. But the reality is, yeah, I do a lot of medical advocacy, and I'm on the board at UCLA, the Health Systems Board, thankfully. And now I'm heading up the mobile stroke unit program there.
Yeah,
This
see,
is
that's just,
life
yeah,
takes you these,
that's a pretty big leap, right?
yeah, and life takes you these funny directions, and I guess if you do good, it keeps taking you in those directions. But I do have medical sensibility, certainly not a doctor. but and you don't need to be, luckily, for the things I'm doing. But I just yeah, I look and I listen, and I do have that natural sense of the undercurrent. I get like, more. Well, now everybody calls it the vibe. Everybody's like, oh, it's the vibe. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But there's something very scientific about an undercurrent with all of us, with our energy, with our all of it. I hate to go the woo woo route of aura, but all of that stuff is very scientific and can't scare me. So here we are. It's nice because I just have the art of it. I have the ability, the gift of the art of it.
And was that the first time you got to use that line, no, but I played one on TV?
No, I use it every time anything happens because a lot of things have to be so I was a police officer too. I was Officer Bakeman in LA Heat, if anyone remembers the series. And so when I drive, and I don't get pulled over, thankfully, but you can bet that if I do, somebody
You
remember,
got the line.
got my badge.
Oh my God.
It's pretty,
Um,
yeah.
you have such a great laugh, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You do. I love your
Uh,
laugh. So what's next? What's next in your um, evolving life?
Yeah, so I'm not, I'm taking more and more serious cases for my work. It's interesting because, I am certain, and I live by the dogma of what you're meant to have will find you. It doesn't always feel like it, as we all know. If you've lived any life, there's things we want that we haven't been able to even receive or
Right,
feel
right.
worthy of receiving or have the capacity to receive, all of that. But I will say this is that I'm certain that what I'm supposed to be doing will find me. And interestingly enough, the trajectory of my career has been such that now it's starting to get into really serious, kind of life and death stuff. I did receive some of those early on when I was working in Malibu, and I was so afraid of it because I thought, oh my gosh. So then I hypnotized myself to not be afraid of it. Come in, like to really receive it. I'm ready. And then I started getting like less serious stuff. So it goes in these waves. Interesting. 2019, I was inundated with weight loss clients, inundated, coming through the woodwork. And I couldn't figure out why, because of all the years and decades now I've been doing this, there's these waves. And so 2019 brought all of this for weight loss, and then COVID hit. And I thought, how interesting, because at the time, remember, they were, pounding the media that, if you're
Right,
healthy, you don't get it, and if you're fit, you don't get it,
right,
and all
right.
those things. And now, I really do direct people to, if they can, if they're a candidate for the weight loss drugs, I direct them that direction because that monkey on your back, again, going back to that weight we carry with the backpack, is, so heavy. And I say, just get it off. If you're a candidate, of course, get it off of your plate, no pun intended, and get on with your life because they're finding all kinds of things. And again, I only speak to this as a novice and as a someone who's not in the medical community,
Right.
legitimately, that, wow, right? So it was interesting. So I don't see it anymore. And if I do, I just direct them to their medical doctor to get help right away. It's fascinating what's happening. There's a time
So
and place.
fascinating.
People may, generations coming, may not, see obesity as even one of the top five maladies for sickness and all that.
Which is
That's,
pretty unbelievable. It's unbelievable that, you know, that part of our society and our lifestyle is disappearing. And it
yeah,
makes you
let's
wonder, does that mean there's going to be less diabetes and less, less heart issues and things that came along with being overweight?
Yeah, and,
And
let's do it with cancer, right? Let's do it with
yeah,
MS. Let's do it
yeah,
with that.
it's
Um,
pretty, yeah, it's pretty amazing
wow.
because I mean, so many things you read talk about the different, the benefits too, other than losing weight from the weight loss drugs.
Huge. And I think more and more, sometimes I'm lucky enough to hear some things again, those vibrations happening. in the medical community before they're published, and just findings and interesting things. And it is amazing what these drugs are doing. Amazing, beautiful,
Yeah, it's
like you
it's
said.
great. It's great that we're able to see this happening in our lifetime.
Yeah.
That imagine, when it's past our lifetime, just how sophisticated those things will be.
Oh yeah, and again, going after those more serious mortality rates and issues, heart disease and all of
Right.
it. Wow, we're in
Yeah.
for the nano robots. Are you familiar with nanobots?
Yeah.
Where they,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, how wild is that? It'd be
No.
like mission control stomachs, great. It'd be like, if you even need to do that, maybe just
Yeah.
tap.
It's
Who knows?
crazy. Just
Yeah,
crazy. Like
it's a
it's.
wonderful
I
time to be
said
alive.
it is. It is. I sit back sometime and go, whoa. When you think back to where we were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and where we are now, it's like,
Right.
whoa.
And I just have to say, I love the fact that we're straddling these time frames because I'm old enough to have been able to drink out of a garden hose that was laying in the sun outside. And when you drink out of it, you have to let it run for a little bit because the part that was coiled, the water that's coiled in the hose that was laying in the sun is hot.
Right. Right.
So if you let it run, then you get to the cool stuff. But like the smell of that rubber and the taste of that whatever that coupling is on the end, that you stick in your,
Coppery thing. Yeah.
yeah, the coppery
Rusty, coppery.
which
Yeah.
is bent and rusted, and then yet here we are, right? So the fact that we were able to do that, like, yay, because
Oh yeah,
touching,
we lived through so much that now it wouldn't even be an issue. I
right?
mean, um, yeah, that's funny in itself when you think about the things that we did that nobody would dare do now.
Oh my
Um,
gosh,
and again, we
growing,
survived it
yeah,
and are
yeah,
thriving. Yeah, it's
yeah. Not
funny.
only survived it, but like reminiscing kind of. We used to drink the last little sips of the beer from the workers. There was a lot of house presents, and we thought we were so cool. We were like 8, 9, and 10, and we'd slip out at
Oh my
night,
God.
fall, and we'd find the beer bottles, and they'd have a little swig, and we were like, "Oh, it was gold." And then we'd finish smoking the butts of the guys that were we'd finish smoking the cigarette butts, and I
You,
mean, Nirvana. You wouldn't touch that these days.
you had a much more adventurous life than I did. That's for sure.
Texas, baby. It's a wild west.
No,
It's
no,
your
no. I'm a Texan. I'm a Texan, so that but I left early. I left
yeah,
early.
yeah, yeah. That's right. I completely forgot that. I
I
just
know.
have England all over you.
But yeah, no, I left early, so it doesn't really count. I didn't grow up there. I was just a baby there.
Yeah. Huh.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that people send in and ask
Okay.
that are quite sometimes fun, sometimes silly. Let's see what we have today. I'm looking. Okay. Are you a morning person or a night person?
Morning. I
Me
think that,
too. We
yeah.
start texting when everybody else is just falling asleep.
And I love that about you. Like, I know if I can be and stay friends with someone, like, what time I can text them mysteriously. Because it's all going to happen in bed with coffee and it's fun. It's like, good morning,
Yeah.
Ruth.
No,
Yeah.
I know people that um there's a girl, I'm sure you've met her too, that's kind of part of the LA circle. And I swear to you, she's got two dogs. How they let her sleep in the morning is beyond me. But she'll be texting me at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and I'm texting her back at 9 in the morning, and she's not even close to looking at her phone yet. And that's just her norm. It's not like she goes out all night.
Yeah.
It's that's just her hours. She's a night person, and I could never, ever. I mean, I can't relate to it. So if I
Yeah.
can't relate to that part of somebody's life, it's kind of hard to relate to a lot of parts of it.
Right. Well, and also, there are protocols, in the wellness space. There's people that don't touch their phone, by design because they want to, really gather their own energy and have their morning meditation and all these things. And, my life isn't strict right now. And I kind of just like, oh, Gloria, okay.
Well,
I'm like,
I'll see what she watched last night. I know she's up.
just trying to
Um,
find joy. That's all. I just want joy. And I go, oh, Gloria texted, what do you know? This is great. Sure.
so do you meditate, Kimberly?
So I do. I'm not super regular about it, but I do. I think you
I
meditate,
do.
don't
I do
you?
transcendental meditation, and I'm not strict with it. I don't necessarily do it twice a day. And I don't necessarily do it 20 minutes each time, but I do what I can do when I can do. And when I first started, probably for the first 4 months or something, I was religious with it. I was so disciplined. It would be like I'd wake up in the morning and before my coffee and what I would do my 20 minutes. And then in the evening, I find, shoot, I'm about to go out to dinner. I better quickly do it. I was finding that really wasn't comfortable. It really wasn't, it was becoming stressful for me. And so I went to my meditation teacher and I said, am I supposed to be having all this stress with the meditation? And she said, Gloria, do what you can do when you can. And funnily enough, once she said that, I did. And I was able to find the 20 minutes. And sometimes it'd be only 17 minutes. And sometimes it'd only be once a day. But I found the time and enjoyed it so much more. But yeah, I think it's actually been a bit of a bit of a godsend for me because it really does help me disconnect from everything else for however many minutes, however many times a day. So yeah, I enjoy it.
Do you do it
I
most
do.
days,
I
would you
do.
say? Oh, that's so good.
Are you
Good for you.
mindful? Do you do mindful meditation or just your own thing?
So it's interesting. So first of all, I don't do it like you do it in the sense of I'm not regular every day. And you really should be if there's a should component to it because the down regulating of the mind, is the practice, right? And so the more you can be the observer and not in it, which is what
Right,
you're,
right.
reflecting about, then that becomes habit for the brain pattern, right? So I attack it and even just the word attack, I go at it from the scientific point of I listen to the different hertzes. So I listen to the alpha and the theta and the delta waves when I meditate. Do you do that, or do you just listen to nice music, or what do you do?
We have a mantra that we repeat. And so
Oh, okay.
we repeat, in our heads. And sometimes you lose the mantra, which took me ages to understand that that was okay. But sometimes you lose it, you just kind of lose yourself. So you're not really, well, my interpretation and the way I do it, I'm not really looking for anything I'm just looking to find a little bit of chill, like a little bit of, just not thinking. So
Yeah.
that's my goal with it, and that works for me. So,
Yeah, the
yeah.
mindfulness of it is what you like. Yeah. Mine is rewiring my brain, literally rewiring it so that it's not highly reactive. Um, that it's like that. One of the protocols I use is a perspective shift. And if you would you like to do one real quick? It's kind of
Go
fun.
on. Yeah,
Perspective
yeah.
shift. Okay. So think of a time when you had kind of like an with somebody, like where you were kind of like this with somebody. Just think of a time.
Every
And through your
day.
own eyes, like 5 minutes ago. Okay, so through your own eyes, close your eyes, but through your own eyes, meaning you're associated, you're in your body and looking at this other person. Look at that person and feel those feelings. You're going to feel what you felt at the time.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Now lift yourself up and out into their body, looking back at you. So now you're dissociated. You're in their body, looking back at you, and have that same
And my
transaction.
eyes are still closed, right?
Eyes
Okay.
still closed, yeah. So you're just thinking, reminiscing on the time, but from their perspective, you're in their body,
Okay.
looking back at you, and you're going to feel a certain way. Now you're going to pop up to third person, up above the two of you, looking down at the two of you, having that transaction, and feel those feelings for a second. And then come back into the room and open your eyes. So typically what happens is you have three different perspectives of that same transaction. What did you experience?
Well, yeah, you did. I mean, I did. And I think that applies everywhere. Like you hear about a couple getting divorced, for example, and there's her side, his side, and the truth sort of thing. There's like
Right.
three sides to everything. And And so I think
Right.
that's what that just was, is how I
Yeah, he
viewed what
does. And so
happened
then,
and how I should imagine she viewed it. And, and then looking down on both of us, I was right. She was wrong and I was right.
it's usually the way it ends up. It's very funny because so the meditation I do is to stay in that third perspective, looking down at most
Oh,
things.
wow.
That's that disconnect.
Oh, wow. That's
So yeah,
interesting.
so that was
Yeah,
where I
that's
was.
very interesting.
Yeah,
Huh.
so that you're looking with oftentimes like in business in a meeting you'll hear the 50,000 foot view, the 50,000 foot perspective. You hear that and they use it in business in faith-based kind of
Right.
protocols, or
Right.
anytime someone's talking about God, the God perspective. So there's all of these different ways we can plug in that model. And then in meditation, of course, it's the disconnection and that third eye, and the whole idea that you're seeing the whole picture. So that's what that brainwave pattern does. The On Spotify, I use a lot of the hertzes, and I go for whatever. Is it relaxation hertz? Is it a deep sleep hertz? Sometimes I just need to meditate through the quietude of it. It's interesting because those brainwave sounds. I mean, literally, you're fine and you're hearing, you're lucid and you're conscious, and then you're just out. I mean, it really is effective for anyone who's looking for relief that way. Pretty
Oh,
pretty
that's
wild.
interesting. Um, okay. So what's, this is actually is a question, but because we do often talk about this is a good question. What are you watching now?
So I I said so I'm sending a quick text that says, "Don't take the car, I need it," and it came out, "Don't take the cat, I need it." We don't have a cat. 1 second. Sorry, this is real life intervening, right? Don't take the car. I just heard the door open.
Or the
Is that
cat for
funny?
that matter.
Or the cat we don't have, the future cat. So what am I watching? So it's interesting because I'm out of things, and so usually I curate things and I kind of stack them up, but I'm out of things. And so last night to go to bed, the other thing besides Om and all the wonderful hertzes you can use is American Ninja Warrior. That works too because they're screaming. They're like, and now they're going for the triple toe, all these different things.
Now, I've not done
They're
that,
here in Vegas.
but have you
Yeah.
watched Department Q? I like that.
No.
Different, but I like it's an English show, I think. It is.
I love the
And it's,
English
yeah,
show.
write that one down because that's a good one.
Okay, good. What else we
And
got? Usually
you
on the
and you
list of
watched
things
Better
I'm watching.
Sister, right? Yeah. Yeah, I
Yes, that
liked
was
that
good.
too.
And Sirens. Did you watch Sirens?
Yes, I liked that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, Depart
I liked her running up the beach and up those stairs the whole time.
I
That was
know, real,
fascinating. The
yes,
endurance.
yes. Yeah, really good. If you had a bucket list, people, I know so many people that say they don't have one, and I usually say I don't have one, but ultimately I do, because there's places I haven't been that I would like to go to. So I guess that constitutes what a
Yeah.
bucket list is. So assuming you have a bucket
Yeah.
list, name something that's on it.
So I am so dry right now. Like I haven't been traveling, like real travel. I go back and forth to LA a lot, but I haven't been anywhere in so long which is very unusual. Like I've had this dry spell, and it's funny because Jackie, my girlfriend, the other day she called and she's like, "I'm leaving for Egypt tomorrow. Come with me." And I thought, that sounds so great, but I have all these
Yeah.
things, so I can't just turn around and leave.
Did she go all
So
by herself?
so she went with her daughter, and it was interesting because her husband had just passed away. Jackie Siegel, my girlfriend, Queen of Versailles. Did you ever meet
No,
her
no.
yet?
You would ask me that. No.
So great. She's coming to town on Saturday, and she wants us to go to LA on Sunday and Monday. But anyway, her husband passed, and she wanted to go touch that stone. There's a stone there, or something that's there that you're supposed to touch. That's supposed to bring you
Aw.
peace. And so she's in search of the thing. So we should look up what that
Oh, that's
is.
interesting.
I did know Is it something in Giza? I'm so
The
terrible about this. I
pyramids,
don't know. There's
the pyramids of
well,
Giza.
okay, so there's something you're supposed to touch at Giza that is supposed to, like, you touch it and all of a sudden you're supposed to just either know everything or feel everything or something magical. I
Well, I
forgot
hope
the
she does.
next
I
story
hope
that
she doesn't go into
happened.
one of those pyramids because I was there and went in, and it was the most horrible feeling because it's very claustrophobic and just very, 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 very tiny. It's huge, monstrous, in a good way, pyramid, but the entrance and the kind of the corridor, like the hallways in it are just very, very tiny. I was in, and it was like 300 degrees out, so I was in and out of there in 7 seconds, and found no peace in that. But looking at,
How
yeah,
tiny
but
is
looking,
that? Like how, like the shape of your body
yes,
tiny, or
yes,
like
maybe
short?
short and just, yeah, you had to duck a lot, and couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it.
In that case, that's where you would hypnotize yourself to be, if you wanted to, and if, let's just say it was life and death and you had to get from here to there. And I'm sure at that point you'd be able to do it. But let's just say you did, even like in pain, you can do glove anesthesia where you literally just block off. Like sometimes, say that something's going on up here and you don't want to feel it, you can literally just say, to yourself, get yourself in that state. I feel nothing beyond my
Huh.
neck. It's
Hmm.
fascinating.
But maybe
Yeah.
it's the Sphinx. Maybe if you touch that, I believe that would be really peaceful. I can't remember if I touched it, but anyway, but I loved it. I loved it. And it
Wow.
was definitely one of those things that probably would have been on my bucket list had I known how much I would have enjoyed that. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Egypt would be great. The main neurologist for the mobile stroke program, Maynor, she's Egyptian, and her family is in the tour business over
Oh,
there. And she said, anytime, let her know. I want to do that. That's a great bucket list item.
oh,
Thank you. I'll put it on.
put that on your bucket list. That's a good one. I want to go to the Galapagos. Have you done that?
I haven't. Now, what about that attracts you? Just out of curiosity.
Just the wild, like walking outside and looking at a ground that's nothing but humongous turtles. Like that just, I love that. And just the little creatures there are just fascinating to me. However, I don't go and walk, I don't dive or snorkel or any of that. And everybody, I know a handful of people that have been there that say to snorkel there and see some of these sea creatures are just next level. But that doesn't interest me. I want to
Wow.
see these creatures outside of the water, just because I'm never going to snorkel. So I don't know. I don't really, that's an interest. I don't know why it's,
The
pardon?
snorkeling. What's the problem with snorkeling with you? Is that something hypnosis can help you with?
No, no, because I don't
See,
want to do it. It'd be different if I wanted to do it, but I don't. Do you know,
that's
I never knew I
true.
could swim. I always tell people that I can't swim. And like, I'm a bath person, not a shower person. I don't like water in my face. I feel like I'm kind of drowning, whatever, whatever. But when I moved from one house to another in Los Angeles, I went through a box and found a picture of me at like 5 years old going off a diving board. I never knew I could do that. Like I never knew. I swam and I must have almost drowned once or something. I just don't remember it because that's how much I don't like the water. But yeah, I was able to dive.
Something did. Yeah, something must have happened. So let's hypnotize you and find out what that is. It'd be interesting.
I'm too
If you,
old now to ever swim, so it doesn't matter to me. But
but and you're not curious
no, I
about what it
am because
was.
something must have happened. Seriously, my entire life, I've,
Wonder
I always say I
what it was
can't swim.
because
So,
it's in there. So yeah, because that's a very unusual thing. Because most people, we are of what we can do until we've self-proven or self-evidence that we can't. So for you to start with "I can't" means it's something that you repressed because you can't remember what it is, but trust that it's in there because it was impactful enough for you at this beautiful time in life to still be with the story that you can't and
well,
you
that's interesting.
won't.
Maybe I
That's the
should do
thing.
that because it'd probably be interesting and a chapter to close.
Oh, for sure. And it's revelations for you. It's like It's like, don't you want to know, where you've been, what you've been doing? Sometimes when I say that there's a process where we go along the person's timeline, and I'll say, when was the first time, the original time when you felt that old emotion of anger? I know that you don't know, but if you did know, would it be before, during, or after your birth? And so then the person, and the answers are like this: you're not supposed to think about it. You're not supposed to dwell on it. I'm writing everything down so we can assess it later. But before, during, or after your birth, sometimes they'll say before, and then I say in the womb or before, or past life or generational. So there's all these different facets and kind of forks in the road that you can take. And it's fascinating because the subconscious mind logs it all. It's literally the existing chronicles of you, even if it's past life. Now, we don't ever, I never leave the witness, so to speak, and say, oh, could this have been, da, da, da. But the things I've heard, I mean, one of my clients associated into England, and she lives here, 75-year-old female. She associated into being a 16-year-old woman in England. She was a housekeeper for a banker, and she and the banker were walking across a bridge in England, and she hurled herself over into the river or the body of water underneath the bridge to kill herself. And that wasn't, she didn't have a water phobia or anything, but she had something, and I can't remember, I'd have to look at her chart, whatever the presenting problem was. And that's where her mind took her back to.
Wow.
And she had this whole thing in her mind about money and energy, and money is bad and all this stuff. And then he's the banker. I mean, it was wild. And she could see herself. Sometimes people will associate into a past life and they don't know what they are because they're in whatever they were. And I'll say, look down. Do you have hands, paws, claws? What do you see? Do you see fur? Do you see skin? Do you see scales? One person associated just into a tiny little speck of light, and they were at what's the big thing that happened where everything died? Not Acropolis. What's the thing? Where there was water in a mountain, and uh, it's very popular. I know when we think of it, it's going to be like what? Anyway,
It sounds it sounds too
dolphins.
religious for me to understand.
No, it wasn't religion. It was real, but it was like a thing. It was bad. So anyway, it was a bad day. So this person was there, and they were just like this little speck of light. It's wild the things that the brain takes. I associated back into a dinosaur in the Ice Age, and it's funny because I'm always okay. So it's going to be 120, and look at me. I'm in these. Because I have an appointment after this, and I'm in sweatshirt. It says Malibu. I'm in sweatshirt, and I always have food source. Well, food source for me today is this. But anyway, I always have food and warm clothes around. And sure enough, I associated into what I thought were giraffes coming to me, and it's all black and white, the visual, and I see all of this distortion. And I'm looking, and you can talk in your dreams, and you can also talk in your hypnosis. So I'm saying, come closer so I can see what you are. And my head is going like this, and I see that it's my family, and they're dinosaurs, and they're coming towards me, walking slow like giraffes. I in this lifetime associate as like giraffes, right? And sure enough, it's coming. It's not giraffes, it's dinosaurs, and I'm going like this, and I'm feeling so hungry, and I'm feeling so cold, and my head is going, and my head is going. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's just a sense of knowing I'm in the Ice Age, and I'm dying, and I'm little, and they're coming. I'm the littlest ones died first, right? The smallest ones, the littlest word, the smallest ones died first because they didn't have the sustenance to keep going. And so I thought, I wonder if that's why I'm always like not always cold, but always
Oh,
prepared.
that's funny. That's
Blankets,
funny. Like I couldn't,
yeah, and then always with
yeah, I couldn't imagine. I
who
couldn't
knows,
imagine it being 120 degrees anywhere and having on something long sleeves. Never mind having that sweatshirt just in case.
yeah. Well, yeah, this is I like to keep my skin nice.
No,
What
that
I
I
mean,
know.
about the
That I
skin.
get.
Yeah, but anyway, but the point is that we don't know, and I'm not advocating that everybody has these past life experiences. We don't know, but when people associate, including myself, into something, it's fascinating. And so, real, not real, who knows? Machination of the mind, or really, really happened, who knows? It ultimately doesn't matter. It's true for you. So there's something in there that happened. If you ever want to play with it, my office is always open to
I
you.
love it. I love it. And on that note,
It's
I
fun.
know we're getting to be close to the time you've got to leave. And you have been
Okay.
so interesting. This is actually a long one for me because I have like such a small attention span. I assume everybody does. So I always kind of think, oh, 20 minutes is enough, or oh, 30 minutes is a bit of a push. And we've been talking and it's
Yeah.
gone so quickly, and it's so interesting because you're so interesting. So we're going to have to end up doing another part to this because I still have a million questions and there's so much more to talk about. And by time we speak again, even if it's next week, you'll have a whole nother chapter of your life to talk about because, because we just
Really, yeah.
started with the past lives part
Yeah.
of your space, and that's fascinating to me. It's so fascinating to me because it's something that um, like I've had a couple of really, quite major experiences that make me a believer. And, I guess people that have experienced something that's out of the norm, you're a believer. And if you haven't, you're not, which I get because not everybody has the privilege of being able to say, oh my God, this is what happened to me, or this is what happened to my sister, or whatever. Um, and that's a whole nother conversation is how come some people can and others can't.
Oh yeah, and dimensions
Yeah.
and all of these things. When you feel things next to you and you don't know, let's do
Yeah,
that.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. And I'm so happy we got to have this chat, and I miss
Oh,
you. I feel like I've been gone
I
forever.
do
Um,
I do too. Like, are we done yet? Can't you just get back? I mean, I feel again like I haven't been places, but I'm gonna come visit you one of these days when you're
well,
there,
you have to, but we
because
say that,
Dale's,
and but
yeah,
the time goes, and all of a sudden we're
yeah,
like, "Weren't you coming? Oh, you didn't come. Aren't you coming?" So yeah, we have to do that.
I know,
But you know what?
yeah,
And
for
that's
sure.
motivated me to, and I'm scribbling this down now to text you later with kind of my whereabouts so we can make sure we do this.
Okay, let's
Okay.
do it. I love
Thank
hanging out with you. You've added so much to my life, Gloria. I cherish and
Oh,
honor you
me
as a friend.
too.
I
I
really
mean,
do.
it's because we haven't even been friends that long, but we've kind of bonded quickly. So it feels like I've
Yeah, and
known
I
you
thank you
for
for your
years and
middle
years and years and years, and I haven't. And I'm glad I know you for the time that I've known you anyway. And I look,
same. I feel like this is part of that. What you're supposed to have in life finds you, and you're one of those
oh,
people. So
ditto.
thank
Thank
you.
you. And thank you for chatting with me today. And I will say goodbye. Thank you all for listening. And I hope you enjoyed Kimberly as much as I enjoyed Kimberly. And um, back soon. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in today. And be sure to follow Gabbing with Girlfriends on here so you never miss an episode. You can also find us on social media for more fun and in depth conversations. Thank you.